What is going on, guys? Welcome. It's been about a week since the last live stream. We got Purple Herb in here. What's up, brother? He says LTRE hype. Almost at 20K. I know. So close. And I'll kind of get into what's going to be the next, month and some change for the rest of the year. King Shadow, what's up? Cam MMA, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Fran Rowe, what's going on? This pic is from the press release that Capcom put out, the Leon thumbnail. What's up, Joshua? What is up? PS1 Hagrid. Trickster is checking out all the REs on the Switch. So he's been playing that stuff. New haircut. My hair's all sticking up and crap. This is just because, when you wear a beanie all day. Newer haircut, sure. I think I got this. I streamed with this haircut before. But yeah, it's all sticking up and shit. So I'm probably just going to slap a beanie on it for now. Now, let's see. All right, we got 32 people in here. So this is just pretty much going to be like a hangout stream. More laid back. I'm just going to read your comments and questions about RE, survival horror, that kind of thing. I like to do these every so often. So I'm going to continue that. I think it's been about a month since the last one, so thought it was a good time to do one of these because I wanted to make sure that the podcast was out discussing the spoilers and the more in-depth stuff for the Shadows of Rose and all that stuff. So that's kind of why I wanted to wait to do another one of the live hangouts for a little bit until all that stuff was out. So I put that podcast out last week. Hopefully people checked it out. And it kind of just covered everything that has been kind of thrown at us from October onward. Of course, I've been covering it every step of the way with update videos and stuff like that. So yeah, I actually I have been playing some Outbreak File 2. Yes, what's up, Kyle? Hope you're doing well. Eliezer, who is a member, thank you for being a member, Eliezer. Appreciate that. And we also got Liquor Sandwich, who just joined the S.T.A.R.S member. Thank you, man. Really appreciate that. Thank you for joining. Longtime supporter. He also supports Game Complainers. Is the audio low? Is it really that low? It should be pretty. I'll adjust the gain a little bit, but I have it from the same point that I've always had it at. So maybe this is better. Let me know. Thank you, Liquor Sandwich, for joining though, and always being a support on the channel and multiple channels and endeavors. Thank you. And yes, there's going to be more member perks and stuff like that I want to really roll out and make it, I guess, more bang for the buck. So I'm always trying to adapt. And kind of like what I said on the podcast, I'll kind of get into on here as well. Just kind of like planning and prepping for the next, going into next year and really trying to hit it out of the park. Everyone else is saying the audio is fine. Okay. I adjusted it. I did increase it a little bit, so hopefully that just works for everybody. But yeah, so I'm really trying to pretty much just up the ante. Just really try to knock it out with the next couple of months. And especially when it comes to just kind of execution on content and stuff like that. And Callisto Protocol comes out and then in about, less than 2 weeks now on the 2nd. So I will be streaming Callisto Protocol. So I'll try to throw that event up this week. And I will also be doing a live stream this week up and coming for Patreon members and YouTube members. So anyone that supports me in that extra step will be able to access the the live stream Hangout show that I'll be kind of converting everything. I'll be switching some stuff around in Discord as well. And yeah, I think there's going to be maybe like a resurgence of interviews, Liquor Sandwich. I would like there to be to that point. He says, I listened to your Dan Berlew interview like 5 times. Any chance you'll interview him again, or perhaps have him on a live stream? Yeah, I mean, it's always possible. I mean, he's such a laid back dude, and the fact that he was really cool and welcoming. I don't see why he would why he wouldn't. I think he would definitely be down to do something, and maybe to take like questions or something like that this time. Maybe we're like, I could interview him and then we could do the questions and stuff. What's going on, Golden Freak, Julio? Let's see. Disval says, I want an Operation Javier video game with RE2 and RE3 remake style gameplay, but also Zero's partner mechanics and puzzles. That would be different. But Zero's mechanics, I mean, the item box thing is definitely one of those things that gets... That's one of the things I have against Zero, is I wish that they, they just changed that a little bit. And I understand where he was going, where Mikami wanted to take it, but it just didn't really work in that mechanic, in my opinion. So I'm going to try to get through the comments. Like I said, I try to go through as much. I'll try to read them as quick as I can. So definitely try to keep them coming. Where am I at here? Jackson Jack says, hey, I'm a new subscriber. I'm a huge RE fan, but I actually found you through Dead Pit Radio. Oh, that's awesome, Jackson. That's actually really cool. Yeah, Dead Pit's a huge inspiration for me from back in the day. And I've been able to jump on a few of their shows and some of their Patreon like roundtable stuff, and they're just it's a great circle of people in the horror community, and that's really cool that you're here from them. And yeah, they're always making good content, and they're one of the OGs in terms of the horror talk radio or podcast radio shows, in that whole horror lane before a bunch of those people came along in the horror realm, and we're doing stuff nowadays. There was Dead Pit Radio back in 2005, which is crazy that they've been, going on for a while. Obviously, they had a break, and then they came back in 2020, and they've been killing it ever since. So, yeah, I have a bunch of respect for them, and their hustle is always appreciated. Anybody that sticks with something for that long and continues to do it. And, yeah, that's really cool, especially because they're a different kind of channel. So when I go on there, it's fun to like talk about movies of different sorts and stuff like that. It's fun, so that's kind of what I always kind of looked forward to doing, branching out and do it, especially on my film channel, is like talking about different things and movies and stuff. So, but getting this channel where it needs to be is definitely priority number 1 right now. Shadow's in here too. King Shadow's always in here throwing it down. Golden Freak asks, how am I doing today? I'm doing good. Last night was a lot of fun, actually. I hung out with Andy from Biohazard Declassified on Residents of Evil with JJ and Corey. I went on there, and JJ asked me to be on as a guest, and Andy was also on there filling in for someone else, so it just kind of worked out. It was the first time I was, asked to be on the channel, and as you guys know, me and JJ go way back before even Residents of Evil. So it was actually really cool that I was able to chat it up and play some Outbreak File 2, which was a lot of fun. Playing that co-op is always fun. And that happened last night. And it was kind of like, it just kind of happened. Like I literally woke up, was, cleaning around the house, just doing my thing. And I got a text from JJ, and he's like, hey man, if you're free for some Outbreak. I was like, done. Now we've already been talking and chatting about stuff anyway, but that was really fun that it just happened that way. And then we did an after show where we really almost did like a podcast, just shooting the shits about RE, which is awesome. It's been, a while since we were able to do that, so I can't wait to have him on my show in the first time in a while, and it'll be cool to talk about that stuff. But I have a couple guests that I'm going to be getting on before I kind of line up next year with some more guests. Like I said, I want to continue to have more people on the show, do more collaborations. So this past week, I kind of had my ass kicked by my allergies a little bit. So you could also hear it in my voice just a little bit. But yeah, so the allergies, they come and go. Some years they're worse than others. But especially when you got to deal with like leaves falling and a bunch of stuff over here in South Jersey. So I've been well, Golden Freak, to answer that long-winded question. So to stream last night and to actually be able to talk and chat and play without any like issues, it was cool because like I said, I was kind of like messed up where I couldn't record or live stream for a little bit. So yeah, I just wanted to actually have a good time, and it was awesome. So now that I'm good to talk on a mic and I'm good to, not get my ass kicked, but I think there's like a lot of like online stuff that I definitely want to play more like with you guys. Like I know we did some of the reverse stuff. And like I said, I really want to do more sessions where people that support me, like members and Patreon supporters and stuff, can play, and we can all jump in. Ken says, has your scalp been cold since shaving your hair? No, not really. And it never really was shaved either. You know what I mean? I don't shave it. I always use, so that's the good thing is I don't shave it down completely. But I continue to keep this on because my hair is all over the place today. Let's see here. A lot of good survival horror games coming soon. I hope they add lots of unlockables in these games. Yeah, Eliezer, I would imagine the unlockables in Callisto would be really well done, and hopefully the replay value is there. I think replay value is super important for survival horror in general. So I think that'll work very well with Callisto. We'll see. Between that and Dead Space, we have an idea because that's already out to some degree, so we could see how they're going to continue the New Game Plus and getting more power nodes and all that good stuff. Julio says, what are your thoughts on Luis and Krauser getting their own campaign? I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. But I think I love those characters, and I love both of those characters. So I think seeing more of them and writing them in a different way, hey, I'm down to see it. I'm down to see more of it, more cutscenes. I'm down to see, maybe an Ada side, campaign because of Separate Ways. So I have a couple cool things that, I can't wait to dive into. I have a couple things I'll get to when I get through some of these comments here. Golden Freak's asking what I think about Salazar's new design. I actually don't mind it. I don't mind the hat being gone. I know some people cared about that, but I like the fact that he, has the cracks in his skin, and he has the gray hair, and it really is still true to his original form, but he definitely looks more like jacked up, if that makes sense. So I wonder what his final form will look like. But everything I've seen so far, even from his castle, which is such a huge element of Salazar, I'm super stoked. I can't wait to see that. What's up, Stevie Mac? What's up, Mr. B? King Shadow? Ex Cathedra? Diamond Rattler? I've heard of Ill. I think someone mentioned Ill. Cashbox says, I was stoked to see collaborating with Ro. Good times in our community and friends. Oh, yeah, man. A lot of people in the chat were just part of my audience too, which was awesome because obviously everyone watches just everything survival horror. Everyone's in the community. I see some of you guys on like non-RE related videos just in the gaming community. So yeah, I like that the roots kind of run deep, with that stuff. And that's always cool to see. Ex Cathedra, Diamond Rattler, Horror Game Enthusiast. What's going on, guys? Yes, liquor sandwich allergies do suck the fat doo-doo. Fuck that. Didn't help. It was 72 degrees, and then it was 45 the next. Yeah, that I think that also kind of fucked with me too. Matthew, what's up? What's up, Vibe Tribe? How you been? I've been good, man. Like I said, I've just been coming off of dealing with the allergies and stuff like that. So now that the allergies are kind of set aside, with not taking over the day, I can continue to work on stuff. Yeah, I can't wait for RE4 remake. Horror game enthusiasts, it's gonna be dope. Oh, thanks, Jackson Jack. Appreciate that. And I'm happy that, we all kind of can meet in the middle with horror and Dead Pit. That's actually really cool. What's up, Hey Diva, in the chat? He says, do you think they'll mention Operation Javier during Krauser and Leon encounter? Yeah, I think they will. I think it'll be talked about to some degree. So it's one of those things that, and what's up, Hey Diva? I hope you've been well. I know you've been working hard on videos. And, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff that can come out of their interaction now if they really write them in a way where it shows their history and it doesn't seem like such a surprise to the people playing that might not know about Operation Javier to begin with, PS1 Hagrid says, yesterday I saw John's video about the RE4 knife. Yes, everyone should obviously check out John's video on the RE4 knife that I shared. And it's also on Survive This, which is his channel. So check it out. Yeah, he says that I had an idea. Krauser's fight as New Game Plus bonus weapon being powerful and infinite durability. Like, oh shit. Okay, so like the knife in RE8. Okay, that could, that could work. Because some kind of New Game Plus perk in that way. If your knife is already, jacked out of its mind, it's already on steroids. You have a knife that's on steroids against Krauser's knife that's on steroids. That could make it a lot more easier. So, yeah, that could happen. That could actually work. I think having those unlockables now with the knife for beating the game will be kind of cool, Or they'll have a different knife that you can unlock that's even better, like you just mentioned. Or even the hot dogger in RE3, Something like that would be cool. Liquor Sandwich says there's a possibility RE4 might have multiplayer according to the ESRB about in-game purchases. Could be something else, though. Yeah, it could be some of the DLC or some of the bonus stuff that you can buy. Or maybe the charms that you can buy if you don't get the collector's edition. Just a thought. Because I would imagine they're still supporting Reverse by the time this thing comes out. But curious to see if there is Mercenaries or if there's co-op in Mercenaries. What's up, Diaz? Good to see you here. Cashbox says Salazar looks like Bilbo Baggins from Lord of the Rings. That's hilarious. Can says, with RE3 being your usual top pick for the fave in the series, how much of the replayability for you is influenced through your alternate costumes? Well, basically, oh, you mean like if it was like just to play through the costumes? Yeah, I mean, just to unlock them. One of the things I actually really liked when I played RE3 was obviously, you beat it on hard, you get this amount of costumes and you get everything unlocked there. But then when you played it on PC, you actually got exclusive costumes. And I remember getting the PC edition on Windows XP back in the day and just being blown away that I could pick all of these costumes from the start. Now, they weren't labeled. It was just like costume 1, 2, 3, so you'd have to like memorize them. But I would always pick something different because I always thought it was so damn cool. So, it was really cool to see that. Let's see here. What's up, Hadava? Yeah, I hope you're doing well, man. I've just been trying to fight off the allergies here so I can get back to doing what I like to do. Let's see here. Nezuko, what's up? Says, hey, I just heard your channel from Ro. That's awesome. Yes, I was on that last night, so thank you for that. Thanks for coming over and checking it out. We got 65 people in here and only 40 likes, so let's get the likes up. Maybe we can get over 100 likes tonight. I don't know. We'll see. I'll be going until about a little bit after 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so I'll be going for a little bit, so you guys have plenty of time to ask some stuff as I go through these comments here. What do I expect from after seeing RE4 remake? I would say, this is for Julio, that's what he asked. I would say maybe a remake of 1. Maybe they could go back and do 5. You know, it's tough to say, but I think they'll keep the remakes going. You know, Matthew, I'm stoked for Callisto too. It's gonna have in-game purchases. He says the remake's gonna suck. Joshua just hates everything here about the remake. Well, in-game purchases. I mean, they always have unlockables after the fact. They always put them out on the store, not right when the game launches. So, I guess it's a matter of what you want to do. The deluxe edition, like Vengeful Retreat, just says does have those bonuses, and it's all. Yeah, you can also purchase them. It's 34 degrees in Dallas last night. Damn, X, that's crazy. I think they're going to add Chris into the story somewhere, says the editor guy, over a call or text. You think it in the new one, you think that's going to happen, or in general, if they're going to have Chris come in? You know, Chris Redfield, like I was kind of talking about last night, you know, very underwritten in Village, in my opinion. So I think it's one of those things where they could definitely work it in, you know, and really try to, I don't know, just make it feel like Chris Redfield, like the character, you know. Oh yeah, you're talking about the blaster, like the PLR laser that kills the parasites. I could come back. That's one of the best right there. If they add mercenaries to reverse, then RE4 release, I will shit a brick. Oh, you mean like mercenaries, like adding that in there with co-op or multiplayer, I think you meant to say? That would be really cool, because it brings me right back to RE5. You know, the co-op mercs in the RE5 and 6 were really well done. You know? Yeah, Matthew, I mean, Reverse, it's just like, there wasn't enough content from the start. I know they have the update now, so I'll check that out, but, you know. Half the RE4 mercs roster is already inverse, too. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Like, if they just put them kind of together, you know, because Reverse would still be supported. What's up, Jackie Boy? Jackie Boy is our longest-running YouTube member, so thank you, Jackie Boy, for being in here and continue supporting it. I don't blame you, Joshua, if you think RE4, you know, it's your favorite game, so, you know, you just want to make sure they're doing it right. What's up, Fatty? McRotten Tooth, he says, everyone wants Code V and Outbreak, but please do Dino Crisis next, Capcom. Then back to RE. Everyone would like Dino Crisis, and I'm for this. I think Dino Crisis needs to happen, and I'm not really, like, into the whole Exoprimal thing, but I think that'd be really cool if they, you know, end up making that into Dino Crisis, because they already have all those, you know, all those assets already. They already got the dinosaurs. They got all this stuff happening. Are you going to do a winter short film? I don't know. I really don't know what I'm going to be doing next. I think it's probably going to be another Grindhouse fake trailer thing that we're working on a script right now. If we finish that, that'd be cool. And we can probably shoot that. I don't know if it'll be a whole short film, Jack, but, you know, something else could happen. Any chance of a quick verse session? Probably not tonight in the stream, but I would definitely like to do one, just because I don't have all the stuff set up for the Elgato, but I could definitely try to fit something in next week. Maybe live stream it, because I'm going to be streaming a lot next week to make up for the fact that I wasn't streaming this week, because I kind of need to, while also working on stuff. RE6 remake, as Trigger 15, you know, they always could get up to that point, and they could change a lot of stuff. So, you know, Saint Dizzle Gaming, what's going on? Sparkshots here says, yo, it's been a while since I popped in here. Life stuff. Hope you're good. Hope you're good too, man. Haven't seen you in a while, but hope all has been well, and I'm happy that you came back. You know, there's a bunch of channels that you can watch, so I'm happy that just in general. So I'm happy that you're back. Have you had any wild RE dreams? I used to get dreams where my brain would seemingly put me in an RE game or a new version of one of the past game events. Yes, I've definitely had some weird ones in the past, like a lot of them growing up or a lot of them being in the games, right, or being in Raccoon City. A lot of Resident Evil 2 and 3 situations where you're just kind of like there in the like map. It's very like a weird feeling. Sometimes you're there with characters, sometimes you're not. I remember playing so much RE4 that when I would close my eyes, I would just see like the ammo lights. Like I was playing it so much that I remember going to bed at night and I would just see Leon shooting. And that was like, yeah, that was an addiction. Resident Evil 4 was an addiction. Like I played that thing like nobody's business. I got some cool stuff I'll talk about once, like I said, once I get through some of these comments here, because it's going to be exciting. There's a lot of cool stuff I want to bring in that, but yes, the answer is yes, Can. It definitely happens from time to time. Not so much recently, but back in the day, yeah, a lot more. If you can custom build an RE PC, what would it look like? Damn, Ryan, that's a good question. I mean, it would have to have some kind of clear case with, you know, I would love to have, you know, the Umbrella logo kind of engraved on, or the Let's Talk Resident Evil logo even engraved on the, somewhere on it, have the Umbrella logo maybe on the other side with the Vector logo. And have some, you know, some kind of T-virus or G-virus kind of hanging around in the actual case. That'd be kind of cool. Like, that's if I had, like, the fuck you money, basically. A custom RE PC is awesome. You know, that's, like, the idea. That's great. And having space, like a big case where you have space to kind of do shit would be cool. Let's see. Editor guy says, like, since there's linking of all the remakes together through at least files through RE4 was a note about the Ganados. Well, yeah, they are trying to link all the remakes together, if that's what you're saying, like, in the timeline. So I think they're really trying to connect it. And I think the Nemesis, you know, is a crucial role into, you know, the Las Plagas and stuff like that. And we kind of saw those connections in the files. So I think that there might be something there that we'll see. Eliezer says, I like to get a RE Code Veronica before an RE1 remake. I know. And that's why a lot of fans want to see that. You know, I think there's a lot of... there's definitely a lot of requests for that and a remake of Outbreak or some kind of like multiplayer rendition. We're kind of talking about this last night. Like one of the highest requested things from fans is, you know, them getting an Outbreak remake or some kind of online co-op experience that is like that. And yeah, I don't know. You know, we'll see what happens. But yeah, Code Veronica just doesn't really seem like on their radar, like I mentioned in the recent video. PS1 Haggard says he'd love a reboot of 5. Maybe handle the two characters like RE2 with two different scenarios. They could. They could do something like that, or just make it flat out co-op, you know, have that layer in there. Because co-op in RE5 is fun as fuck. And that's what makes that game have really good replay value as well. They could do another hack and slash, Julio, but I don't know. I mean, I think Devil May Cry 5 was successful. They'll probably continue with that. Mr. Kennedy, says Shy Boy. You got support and fans from Louisiana. My daughter enjoys the chats and watching me play RE games. I hope to show her Dino Crisis one day soon. Oh, that's awesome, Matthew. And, you know, I think it's so cool how far the fans kind of reach, you know, with just a little franchise from, you know, 27 years ago, almost, and it's like it's amazing, and I'm grateful. So thank you, and I'm happy you guys are able to kind of bond over, RE and horror and all that stuff. And thanks for always checking out the channel, guys. Really appreciate that. And let's see. Astro says, imagine an RE5 remake, but with the original concept detailed in the art book. I still mourn what could have been. Oh, yeah, no, a lot of the stuff in the RE early concept stuff was really cool. And, the sun was going to be a crucial role in slowing you down and almost being like an enemy in and of itself. And that's all stuff that was cut out. So I don't know. That's something that there is a lot of possibility with that. And that's why I'm not opposed to seeing it. So Laser says, I would prefer Dino Crisis above Code Veronica, but an Outbreak multiplayer game in this generation would be fun. That would be killer. And Dino Crisis 2, like even going back to what Matthew was saying, like it's just all possible. It's all right there. They have the RE engine. They have this stuff here, especially with Exoprimal. And Dino Crisis, just I really have a lot of nostalgia with that game too, and that's why I played it on the channel before. I'll play it on the channel again. I think I'm still not great at that game, but I do really enjoy going back to it. Julio remembers being in love with Ada when he was a kid. Yeah, Ada's always hot to trot. Shy Boy says, Resident Evil Thanksgiving, stars, an umbrella, enjoying holiday dinners together. Yes. Yeah, it is Thanksgiving coming up, which is crazy. And hopefully you guys are enjoying, the time. And like I said, next week, I will be streaming pretty much each day. Yeah, stay tuned. If you guys need content, well, there will be some stuff for you guys to watch live stream wise. So I'm going to be doing some stuff, and the videos I'll be talking about a little bit later will be a little, just kind of like a little hints. But again, I try not to bring up a lot of this stuff. You guys will just kind of see it when it's done. But there is one thing I definitely want to announce to let you guys know that's happening. And Matt says, in my teens, when RE4 came out, all the other guys on the block, they were probably looking at porn. And I was beyond addicted to playing RE4. And it was like nobody's business. Yeah, no, I mean, dude, that's the thing. It's like a lot of people were into just like, Pokemon or, Nintendo stuff or other things. But like Resident Evil, I couldn't shut up about Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 was awesome at that time because it really struck a nerve. And it was such a great era in gaming. And it's something that I always wish I could go back to and experience that for the first time, and experience Gears of War for the first time, and experience Halo 3, and experience the 360 generation. Like all of this stuff here, and all of the online party chats, before the party chats, just the private chats, and all the dashboard updates, and just like that era. And even PS2, Xbox, GameCube, even that era, even before I was rocking online, at least at my house. And Brent says, watching what? Yeah, I mean, hey, that he said it, not me, but no. Those were kids on his block, so hey, man, if that's what they were doing. Some people were, really down for the games back then, and I think some people got more into the online stuff, and some people got more into the single player stuff. But it was a fascinating time, and RE4 always stuck with me for that reason, and the fact that I'm seeing it remade, and I'm gonna bring that point around full circle in a second. Would I use a typewriter, an RE typewriter keyboard? Yes, Jackie Boy, absolutely. X had a dream where he was in the alley in RE3 when you're chasing Brad, and he remembers the hopscotch chalk on the ground and the shutter with bonus ammo that requires the crank. Very random. Yeah, dreams are always kind of weird, especially when you have things that you constantly play or constantly run in your head, Do you think for the next Resident Evil, it'll go backwards in time since Shadows of Rose takes place 16 years later? I think so, Dragon Ball Radiant. They could easily just kind of fill in that time and really try to have, some kind of story with the characters that we like, or the OG characters that we always kind of discuss of coming back, and really bringing it back to zombies and maybe something simplistic, Spinchy Green says, also, I didn't get notified and forgot. What's up, Anthony? That's all good, man. I know some people don't get notified on here. Good to see you on here, though. I know YouTube is a little weird with that sometimes, but always, stay subscribed. Always hit the bell. You know how that is. Also, Discord is great if you're on the LTRE Discord because it gives you notifications when I'm live, and that's always good, too. Dave is in the house. Also, one of the longest running YouTube members on here. Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much. It's Aceful Fame Gaming here. It says Anthony deserves support more than anyone. He's a really generally good guy and is going to a good place. Thank you, Dave. It's my real life best friend right there, and it's always great to. I think we're all in a spot where we're pushing and we're doing our thing, and we're going to be going to a good place, and that's really what it is. I've been really trying to kind of like reflect the last week that I've been kind of like down and not being able to record, and reworking a lot of stuff, working on a certain video, working on a particular video that's very different for the channel, and it's very Resident Evil, and it's all Resident Evil stuff, but it's going to be very, very different, and it's going to be a little bit more articulate, if that makes sense. It's going to be a little bit more finessed, and I think you guys are going to be really stoked to see it. And again, I'm not going to say what it is. I'm not going to say when it's coming out. You guys are just going to see it when it's done. But I assure you that I've been writing the script when I was kind of like not able to record or live stream, so I've been kind of getting through it. So you'll see what I mean. But it's going to be pushing some stuff, hopefully in a way that I can grow the channel as well. And it's going to be dope. You know what I mean? So I hope it's going to be dope. So as long as you guys are there to see it and watch it and support it, hopefully it gets the light. It gets the light it deserves. They could be doing that, editor guy, doing one again in the RE engine. That could happen. I agree, Diaz. Dino Crisis should get that. Matthew wants you to play Dino Crisis on live so he could show his daughter how bad that game scared him as a kid. Yeah, hey, that's always something I can bring back, you know what I mean, on the channel. I think the last time I streamed it, I streamed the Dreamcast version, which was awesome. That's probably my favorite edition, so I'll probably play that. I did play it on PS1 growing up, but yeah, I definitely would love to play that again, man. So maybe soon. Maybe sometime next year, especially once all the new stuff kind of gets covered. Callisto, Dead Space, all that stuff. The editor guy says, what do you think would have been better, MGS3 remake or Silent Hill 2 remake, but that they're doing, I need some Metal Gear love. I'm really happy for Silent Hill fans. I'm happy they finally got the remake. I would have liked to see a remake of 1 to begin with, but I know Silent Hill 2 is the fan favorite. That is one of my favorite survival horror games, Silent Hill 2. So, but I do agree, Metal Gear Solid remake could probably still happen. I'm sure they're going to give it some love eventually, so the puzzles were definitely excellent in Sparkshot because you really do have to do a bunch of shit manually and do all that stuff and text on screen. That's one of the things I definitely run into a problem with Dino Crisis 1 is there's so many puzzles and there's so many things you need for so many different things. I still need a strategy guide when I play that because I'd be screwed. You know what I mean? So, But yes, Dino Crisis 1 still has a perfect charm. I do even like Dino Crisis 2, where it's more of an arcadey type. They kind of took out the puzzles, but you can farm and upgrade stuff. That was a lot of fun. I don't know if we'll see Rose again, Dragon Ball. I don't know. I think that book hopefully is closed, but we can move on to other characters, in my opinion. It definitely was monumental for the gaming industry, Fran. You're right about that for RE4. He says it was a leap in video games, the next-gen experience that redefined third-person shooters as it all was during the GameCube era, and it was crazy. Yeah, man, you got that right. It definitely was one of those things that really changed gaming forever. And, I really appreciate the risk that they took, even though, again, it definitely split some fans at the end of the day, and to this day, where people look at that as like, okay, that's when things started to change, but certain people like certain things about all the different eras, Julio, I'm looking forward to playing next year. Definitely Dead Space, RE4 remake. I'm trying to think if there's anything else coming out beyond that. My eyes are really just set on Callisto, Dead Space, and RE4, two of them being next year. So Callisto, I'm just going to enjoy playing. I will be doing a review on Callisto Protocol, so stay tuned for that. I'll probably be doing a, spoiler-free review, and then I'll probably do like a little discussion or a, more spoiler-esque review as well after the fact once I play it more. A Brad edition for RE1. Yeah, Jack. Come on, I want the Brad statue, Jackie boy. I want the Brad statue. I want the helicopter. Like, let's make this happen. Sparkshot says all character scenarios should be done. I agree. I definitely agree. RE4 has one of the most influential games ever. Is one of the most influential games ever, despite that it divided the fan base. I hope that remake can perhaps bridge the gap, says X. Yeah, and that comment was perfect, right to my point. And you typed that out before I even said it, so it actually works out great. Because, yes, like I just said, it's like maybe this can fill the gap because some people feel certain ways about how they took the story, how they did the writing, stuff like that. So who knows? Dragon Ball Radiance is Ethan for video games, Parent of the Year. Yeah, I know, right? Parent of the Year, especially after that DLC. He had those moments, those deep connections that he finally had, those conversations with his daughter, and his face just was covered up like this the whole time. What if I had a serious scene and it was just like, guys, you're not going to see my face. And then it's on the other angle and it's like this. It's like, I pick up the controller, it's like this, and then the mic just follows me like this. That's what it was like watching Ethan in the DLC. What's up, Cam666? It's a different Cam. What do I think about the Luis redesign? I like it. Actually, I don't have a problem with it, so I'm a fan. I think it looks great, sounds great. Apparently, they're currently remaking MGS3. Okay. That's very interesting. I think that's one of the best games, so, that'd be cool to see. Yeah, it's Common Liquor Sandwich. It has to, especially with the resurgence of remakes. Like, that's going to happen. Julio says, playing Elden Ring and a rainy night in Brazil while listening to you. Quite nice. Oh, that's cool, man. I didn't even know you were in Brazil. Well, shout out to Brazil. And thank you for enjoying the content. And I know a lot of people like to play some games or some RE while they listen to the shows or live streams. And that's really cool. So thank you for that. Fran Rose says, oh yeah, it divided the fans, but it was a monumental influence for gaming history. Yeet for yeah, and now Capcom is making it up for the fans. Win-win. Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing. So that's the one thing I want to talk about. Like, I think with Resident Evil 4, there's definitely a big step in... It was a big step in how they were going to kind of take that series in the next direction, right? And then we ended up kind of getting more of the action side of things with Resident Evil. But the one thing that I want to mention with Capcom this time around is if they are approaching... If Capcom's approaching Resident Evil 4 in a way where they know they're going to add more horror elements and they think they're actually going to have more of a... I guess a way that they can really kind of make that last half of that game on that island, if they even include the island, a little bit different. And I'm very curious to see how that's going to have a effect in where they go if they do remake Resident Evil 5 again, or if they, because if they go back and do RE1, it's safe to say it's going to be on the same vibe of RE2, where it's going to be, horror, isolated, in the house, in the Spencer Mansion, right? But with Resident Evil 4, after that is when they just really tuned up the action to the point where it really kind of made people look at RE a little bit differently. And then by RE6, it kind of have more of a, identity crisis, right? So I think with RE4 going forward, I wonder if they're keeping that in mind of, if we continue to go past RE4, or even if you did a Code Veronica, right? Because Code Veronica had some action elements, especially stuff in the intro, right? But it still stayed pretty much horror, and it had that weird vibe throughout the whole game. So it did succeed in many ways of being eerie and very off-putting, right? So with Resident Evil 5 and 6, though, it definitely turned more into action. So I'm curious to see like where these fans, where they're on each side, you have the fans that really love RE4 and everything about it, and then you have the fans that kind of recognize like certain things that, that maybe the other fans recognize, but maybe they have more of like a, maybe RE4 isn't on the top of my list because of this story change or that story change, or maybe this style of gameplay, right? Because me personally, I come from, the side of like, I really enjoy fixed camera angles, and that's my favorite way to play Resident Evil. But I can still play RE4, and I'm like, this game's pretty much perfect, you know what I mean? But there also is points of that game where I'm like, okay, the island thing, it definitely still kind of like, the pacing kind of gets a little janky at that point in time. And I wish that they kind of really punched that horror stuff all the way through the end, where you had a lot more of the shooting going on, being shot at. You had all those action elements that were on that back half of the game. Is that completely gone? Is that something that is just a little bit different now? It's a little bit of a different vibe. And I think there's nothing wrong with them changing that, but could that influence the potential RE5 remake or RE6 remake if they ever go in that direction? And that's something that I think they really can change here. They have that in the palm of their hand, where they could have, there's going to be a little bit of action. You have Leon parrying with the knife, right? Like there's a little bit of stuff going on that is definitely more faster pace, and it will have that. But for them to kind of stick with that survival horror thing and drive that home and really, keep it darker in a certain way, that can really influence where they go forward with the remakes. So I'm curious to see where they end up going with a lot of those different creative choices, because at the end of the day, we know that this is their shot to, obviously, if they want to do it one for one, that's great, but there's also things that they can also just change a little bit, and they don't got to do much to really make those, sequences a little bit darker, a little bit different. And I'm curious to see what the last half of Resident Evil 4 Remake is like. Like, how is the last half of Resident Evil 4 Remake? How is that? Is it going to be exactly the same with the island? Are we going to get just as much action? Are we going to get the regenerators in the same part of the island, or just the back half of the game? Or is that horror that we kind of felt with the regenerators going to be more prominent, and there's going to be more experimental stuff that they kind of unravel on that island? Or is it just a completely different laboratory wherever they show? Because again, the map only showed us so much when we did the map breakdown, and obviously the island is away from the castle, so it could just not be shown. But yeah, I mean, who's to say what's going to happen with a lot of the changes? But I'm curious to see what you guys think of that as well. Let me know in the chat, in the comments, because that's definitely something that could easily change the whole vibe of where they take Resident Evil going forward with the remakes. Are they going to really keep it in that action, snowball that just kept kind of rolling right off the heels of 4 on the 5 and then on to 6? And we got Multi-Drider here with the $10 super chat. He says, what remake I would like to see, and even Sphere Hunter agrees with me, is to remake Survivor, which is a fun game and outdated for 2000, but a very short game. Or it is a very short game. That's his complaint. Thank you for the $10 super chat. And I will catch up with the chat as well now, because I kind of went on a little thing there. But I think with the $10 super chat, to answer that with the Survivor thing, Survivor it's not the worst Resident Evil game ever made. It definitely was just a very lazy spinoff, and it just didn't really have the writing or the characters there. But it is a very fast game. It isn't like drawn out or anything. I think I like Dead Aim a little bit more than Survivor, but I don't know. I kind of go back and forth, like what Gun Survivor game I like better. But, if they remade Survivor, it would just be another first-person Resident Evil game, right? So it's like if you brought it back to that again, it's like how do you make that different or unique? They could easily do that, but it would be, I don't know. It would just be one of those things that they always end up uh, toying with when it comes to the spinoffs, right? Like how different can we kind of make this from the main series, but not too different, right? So like, I don't know, man. To answer that, I don't think it'd be too out there for them to say, hey, we're going to do another, they wouldn't call it Survivor, but they'll call it, something else and make it first person. But it seems like they are going in the realm where they are going to be, giving people the choice of picking, first and third person. That could be easily the thing from day one with RE9. We'll see. But thank you for that super chat, by the way. I appreciate that. Let me take a drink real quick. Okay. So I kind of found where I was here in the chat. And okay. So this is from uh Boona Velves says, "Do you think that the Ari Code Veronica fan remake will ever come out?" I don't know. It'll probably come out sooner than the actual remake. Yes, new Xbox are always in stock in my area, multiple times a day, always online. Same thing with PS5s. They're even starting to get stocked in stores now by me. So, it's a little bit more easier. If not, they are online as well. They actually had the Xbox Series S on Best Buy. I think it was $250, which is a great deal, $50 off. So yeah, Hijabi Gamer Queen says this is probably controversial, but I think R4 Remake is going to be better than the original since it looks like it's more horror based. Yeah, I mean, look, anything's possible. I'm curious to see when I play it how I feel about it. And comparing it, we always kind of have that discussion right after I play it and kind of let a lot of that stuff sink in. So we'll see. Ethan is the best father to Rose, says King Shadow. Are you sure about that? Julio says, if I'm not mistaken, RE4 Stories was written in a week, so since it's a long time, I hope they can make it better. I don't know how fast it was written, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of things that they could have adapted a little bit differently from what we know. I expect Silent Hill 2 remake to be really good, Mr. Patriot Joel. Yeah, I expect it to be good. Konami definitely put all their money in the Silent Hill. I agree, editor guy. Leatherface versus Jason. Leatherface. But which Jason though, right? So I feel like Leatherface would win against like probably part 3, part 2 through 4 Jason, but then after Jason's a zombie, then Jason would win. There you go. Let's see. All right, Condor says RE4 Remake is probably going to be the best remake, but may have a potential to be more than just that. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's kind of been building up, right? Like for each remake and each kind of next step, I think they just keep getting things more down and understanding what fans want to see and don't want to see. Will Moore is another fellow YouTube member, man. Thank you for being here. And he says, scrap the island and we have a masterpiece. That's all he said. And that I think that makes sense. A lot of people want to see that stuff kind of taken out or switched entirely. So I think that's a good thing there. Now, Dragon Ball Radiant says, iconic death Brad's original death is probably one of the best scenes in Resident Evil history, in my opinion. They should have not changed that. Yeah, I did wish that they kind of went back and changed that. Fran Rose has agreed 100%. RE4 had atmosphere and it was tense. After 4, not much changed to what RE4 already did. People were conditioned to formula, making 5 and 6 redundant. Well, I think 5, in my opinion, was just RE4 on steroids with co-op, and I thought that was very much the right move to do. Now, whether or not obviously there was more action, so that was kind of, redundant, and some of the writing in 5, but I still liked how 5 connected with the lore, and I still think it kind of gets unnecessarily shit on a little bit. But RE6 is definitely when it took more of an identity crisis and bit off a lot more than they could choose. Cashbox says, sidebar, Your Honor. Have you played God of War Ragnarok? Did you know the director Corey Berlog was partially inspired by RE4 in regards to changing and reinventing the franchise back in 2018? I did hear about that. In terms of trying to really revamp it and reboot it in a certain way, even though it continues the story, but it's kind of like a reboot. It's different than the hack and slash shit that they were doing. So, but I have not played Ragnarok. I played God of War 2018. I thought it was pretty good. But I'm not too big into God of War, so that's why I'm not buying it day one and stuff like that. I could check it out on the PS4. I have a jailbroken PS4, so I can check that out. So I might check it out on there and then, let you know how I think, or just wait for a price drop. The islands did have their generators, Dragon Ball Radiant, but obviously they can always change where they're at or where that, lab or factory is at. Hold on one second. Gotta let a cat up if you hear Mugen meowing. 1 second. All right, guys. I'm back. All right. Where were we here? Kyle says, do you think, or how do you think, Las Plagas could be connected to Miranda and the mold? It seems like it would make a lot of sense. You see, I don't know. I just think that they should just, it could make sense, I guess, for them to kind of write it in a way where they're like, okay, now the origin and kind of includes this, but I really hope that they kind of keep it the same, where it was it was something where the individuals that were, it was underneath Salazar's castle, and then these people breathed in these spores and out came these parasites that were looking for these hosts and stuff like that. I like the fact that it had already a history there in Spain and in the family history of the Castellas and everything like that. It's a very interesting history and story. So hopefully they keep it the same. Don't really tie Miranda into it, but that's just my opinion. X says, I'm hoping I can replace OG RE4 with the remake like I did with RE1. I still play the originals, but I think the remake of RE1 is gosh darn perfect. I mean, I agree, X. We definitely can agree there. And I know that a lot of people are trying to kind of wait and see how this will kind of hold up, and I obviously will try to talk about them and maybe rank them when everything is all said and done. That'll be cool to revisit, you know. Stevie Max says if they put in actual effort and tweak the story, Survivor could be decent. A side game, especially since there's so many enemies in it to kill. Yeah, and some of the tyrants and stuff were kind of cool, you know, in that game too. It just kind of it's a shame it was kind of just wasted on that, you know. And they needed to give Sony another PS1 game, and that just kind of ended up being, you know, another one. The Marwa Desire DLC. I know King Shadow. I know a lot of people wanted that for RE6 because it does kind of go into that RE6 story, right? And I remember when that came out, and a lot of people were talking about that in the comments, and that really is what got me into that. Cam666 is counting down the hours to release. He's so hyped for the game. Yeah, man. It's a good time to be an RE fan, good time to be a survival horror fan. You didn't join at the end of the stream, Colin. Hopefully you stayed. I feel like this dynamic between Leon and Ada, this is from Dragon Ball, feels very similar to Batman and Catwoman. It just needs to end at some point. That's true. That's something that they can always, again, fix if they go forward with it, or they just keep, you know, leaving Leon high and dry. I feel like they should stop adding parts like the boats or in all the other games. Oh, like boats. Yeah, there is a lot of boats, a lot of tropes that repeat, you know. We are talking about that last night too on Row. That was it happens. I feel like RE Nemesis was a lot scarier than RE3 Remake. This is from Eliezer, a fellow YouTube member, S.T.A.R.S member. Thank you, man. The lighting or fire in some areas took away from the dark tone. Also, most of the jump scares were predictable. Yeah, I think the OG Nemesis just worked better in fixed camera angles. And that's just what I said, you know, back when we talked about it and reviewed it back then, you know, is like, I just thought that it was kind of there, working a lot more effectively when you have Nemesis kind of running onto the frame, or you hear him come through a door and then the music happens, you know. It was kind of weird for me to wrap my head around it, because I mean, Mr. X obviously worked in RE2, but that was going to happen anyway because he was in the original, you know what I mean? But I just did a collab with Residents of Evil last night, actually. Well, it was a little it was more like a guest appearance other than a collab, but we are going to be working on some stuff that'll be really cool. Hint, hint, the editor guy. So yeah. And he'll also be coming on the LTRE podcast sooner than later, I'm sure. So we'll be able to discuss some of that stuff. So yeah, so collaboration has already kind of started on that end. Check out the last night's stream if you guys haven't. Obviously, you should know, or not. If you didn't know, I played Outbreak File 2 with JJ from Residents of Evil and Corey, and then of course Andy from Biohazard Declassified, who's also another fellow friend. And, you know, I've known JJ for, you know, 10 years at this point, and before he even had the channel. And he used to listen to my podcast back in 2012. So it's really cool that I was finally able to come on his channel, and it was so much fun. And again, we have a lot of cool stuff planned. So let's see. I'm trying. You guys are awesome in the chat, by the way. Let's see here. Fran Rowe wouldn't mind a remake of 5. He says would like to see what a co-op remake would look like now. Who or would like Code Veronica or 1 remake first, though? Yeah, I think a lot of people really want to do 1 again, or they want to see 1 again. Code Veronica is more like, you know, with their recent statement of them saying, you know, maybe if the opportunity comes, but that could obviously be way down on the list of things that they want to tackle, or even are considering. And that's why I think RE1 kind of pops up on the list when I think of like what they could be putting up first. And then 5 is like right there, like definitely the other option. So yeah, seeing co-op as well, in even like the Mercs and RE4 would be cool. That's wishful thinking, but and I liked RE4 Mercs because it did have that dynamic of just like being on your own, and then 5 and 6 had the co-op stuff, which is very well done. Oh yeah, the RE4 soundtrack was great. Very, very creep. The Serenity, it's very creepy. I said very creep. It's very creep. It's very creepy. Very atmospheric. Works very well. The nostalgia definitely hits hard with all the soundtracks, and yeah, I think the fact that they have the OG soundtrack swap is really cool. I think that thing might be turned on all the time. Sometimes I just do that anyway, but it just depends. I do like the new soundtracks too, to a certain degree, but the OG ones are always they always have a special place for sure. X says, I honestly like both of the ways that Brad was handled. Remake 3 was perhaps more poetic because it shows what happened to Marvin as well, but OG RE3 was a great oh shit moment. Yeah, I mean, I think both are effective, but definitely I always prefer the on site of the police station, just slaughtering of Brad. That was always well done and iconic. Let's see. Connie says, what would you think of an RE TV show that would be handled like how the show Gotham was, where it shows Raccoon City before the events of RE0, 1, 2, 3, giving us a deep look at the stars in RPD? Well, to be honest, man, what you just said sounded better than what I saw in July, you know? So it's one of those things where that would have been cool instead of being like, oh, well, this is like in its own universe. And it's like, I mean, the live action stuff's always like on its own. But they're like, well, this is in like a future thing with like New Raccoon City and like stuff that never happened. And then it's just like, dude, what? Like, at least like make it more grounded to what we know. But I think at this point we need a break from live action RE. So let's just give it a break. Yeah, we're gonna get the full enchilada. Cam 666, I believe that. Yeah, I'm sure they definitely had to get that down pat for sure, especially how they can auto speak. RE1 for VR would be scary. Eliezer says, yeah, the Brad's death in the RE3 Nemesis was epic. The look on his face and how scared he was before gruesome kill set the tone for the rest of the game. Yeah, it showed you that, like, it really showed you how intimidating Nemesis was. You know what I mean? And, yeah, that definitely was always burned into my brain. I think it was more of the different camera perspective, fixed versus being able to see more of your surroundings. Definitely. I think we all got the bases covered, editor guy, for that one. RE4 Remake says, looks like he has the style of OG RE4. Looks like it has the style of OG RE4 with RE6, but done right. I think it, yeah, I just think it has, I kind of get the vibe of, you know, the pretty much RE2 remake, but just kind of with a little bit of RE3 kind of sprinkled in there, with the, you know, dodge or parry, and yeah, then kind of thrown with the new spin on there. Hijabi says RE5 and 6 remake with horror elements, just like the direction they're taking RE4 remake. Yeah, I mean, it's all possible. It could happen. What's up, Matt Apocalypse? Good to see you. Humble Survivor, another fellow YouTube member in the house. Thank you, man. It says RE1 remake is the way to go for Capcom's new vision of RE. Where else can they go after making RE4? Remaking RE1 and turns out good will heal years of fan wars since RE4 original. Yeah, I mean, it will and it won't. I think there'll always be that kind of, like, you know, divisiveness here and there. Some good, some bad. You know what I mean? It's fun to debate sometimes, and you know, just kind of have like, you know, a friendly discussion, but nothing that's like actually toxic. But some people, you know, they'll fight over whatever all day, every day for any franchise, right? But I think for us, like seeing RE1 and seeing it done again with the RE engine in seeing the Spencer Mansion, but seeing all survivors escape this time, and maybe doing something like that where they're all in the scenarios. It's not just like the one character is completely blocked out from A or B, right? Or in this case, Jill or Chris. And that'd be really cool, so it could definitely happen. Carrie, what's up? Good to see you in here. Kami says he thinks RE9 next, then RE1 remake, 5 remake, 6 remake, and then 10. Yeah, I mean, it's who's to say what we'll actually get in what order, but I think it's safe to say that they always kind of plan out their stuff very well in advance. So I'm sure we'll start seeing, the future of RE very soon. And, once RE4 remake is out, or if it's another spinoff, and yeah, that Justin Brown says, just imagine how dope it would look on the RE engine. Definitely. That's one of those things where I just seeing that would just give me chills, because that is such a iconic. I mean, seeing the main hall of the Spencer Mansion, I mean that just opened up the window for all of us fans into that realm. Just, and even the intro and the forest, like running through the forest and getting to the mansion, like there's something that does, even seeing that live action intro back in the day, that it's just like, dude. And then when you see it in remake, you're just like, it's fucking scary. And that was just so well done. Code Veronica could be there too, man. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I again, I've liked Code Veronica more and more throughout the years. I still suck at it, but I definitely have appreciated it more through the years playing it. And still a hard game, and still something I would personally like to see remade, right? But Hijabi says, what do you think about the plot would be for RE9? And do you think they'll have Jill or other OGs back? Well, I would say it would probably be taking down BSAA or whatever infiltrated BSAA. That is definitely what it can do. And within doing that, they can bring back some older characters. I'm sure they'll still want to introduce some new characters. But I think we really have to understand what's going on with the BSAA. How did it get corrupt? How did Chris Redfield let this slip? And, because it stood for something that it completely turned into, and how did it get to that point? Yeah, Crimson Head coming at us, Homo Survivor, that's what I'm saying. That would be just, like, terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Give you chills in the best ways. Exactly, Justin Brown. Just a really good way for them to make that thing just, polished, and just everything will be streamlined. They'll have a streamlined thing of remakes, streamline stuff of original stuff. If people don't like the remakes, then go play the originals. If people like both, they can play both. Vice versa. It kind of just will just work for all different styles. David R, what's up? Miss seeing you, man. Good that you're here. I'll be live for about another half hour. Purple Herb, good to see you here as well. So I'll be going a little bit after 10. But now that I'm caught up with the chat, and hit the thumbs up if you're still here. We're trying to get over to 100 likes before the end of the stream. That'd be dope. So yeah, I am going to be doing a review of some sort, right? So the Callisto Protocol, you guys know that live stream event is going to be happening 2 weeks from now. I'm going to be streaming it on Friday. I'm going to be starting it Friday, probably at noon Eastern Standard Time. The Friday it comes out. I know a lot of people are going to be playing it. But again, I just also want to record it and get footage. So it kind of works out. But for a review, I'm working on a review, and it's basically, it all has to do with Resident Evil 4. So it's going to be pretty much a epic Resident Evil 4 review, and that's all I'm going to say without giving too much away. This is going to be something that is it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun writing process to get through it all. And I'm excited to see, this will be something really cool to do in the build-up of RE4 Remake, and hopefully this video will do, pretty well. Hopefully you guys will receive it well. And, it's gonna be fucking cool. So it's gonna be an ultimate review, if that makes sense. So stay tuned. Again, I try not to say, I made a promise to myself and you guys that, I try not to say it, not say too much until you just see it released. So I'm not going to say anything further, but it's going to be fucking epic. It's going to be awesome. And I would like to, put it out, like I said, before Resident Evil 4 comes out. And it's going to be something really dope for you guys. And there's other videos coming out, but, it's going to be a certain thing that you guys hopefully will like. And it's going to be I'm going to try to make it entertaining. And it's going to be different, but it's going to be fun. And I can't wait again, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great thing to acknowledge a certain time in gaming that just always kind of stuck with me, and then to kind of go through what we've been kind of covering with just how it kind of relates to a certain era, right, and like different eras of the franchise and the genre. So I'm very excited to share a bunch of this stuff with you guys. And like I said, I'm always trying to improve, do better things on the channel, do better content, do content that's pushing the envelope a little bit, and to kind of stand out. And hopefully this is what I can do. So, like I said, the last week I've just been putting a lot of pieces together of what makes sense and where I'm going to go, because I got to really plan for next year now, and within doing so, I still got a couple months left this year. So there's going to be a lot of stuff coming, and I'm excited to kind of share that with you guys. Thank you, Quentin. What's up, man? A fellow YouTube member and mod says, awesome gaming last night with Rowan. Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. We did our best on Outbreak 2, and it worked out very well. It worked out like a charm. That online stuff plays very well. So I'm so stoked that that's just, I don't know, alive and well. Like, they really kept that up and running. You know what I mean? Okay. Sorry about that. Julio says, do you ever mind getting the platinum? If so, have you got it all in Resident Evil? So the platinum trophies, I have a couple. I have the RE2 remake one. I have Resident Evil remake. So I have that. I have Resident Evil 6. And then I'm trying to think. Other platinums. Because I go for platinums and I also go for achievements. So if you guys know or you don't know, I basically had a 360 from back in the day, but I really originally started achievement hunting. Like, that was like my main thing back in the day, and getting gamer score and stuff like that. So I do have a lot of gamer score, and it's kind of split up like what you want to get platinum and what you want to get, me trying to play all the Resident Evil stuff, so you want them all, like RE5, I have all of the RE5 360 achievements, plus the versus mode and everything. I have everything unlocked, the DLC. I do have those achievements, but I don't on 360. But then on the PlayStation, I have all the RE6 stuff for the platinum. Almost have the RE5 platinum. So I have a couple of them. I have the Village Platinum as well. The 7 Platinum, I'm kind of at the middle of. I beat Madhouse on stream. So that is probably like I don't know, 60% done, I think, overall with trophies. But so yeah, I'm close to getting some, but I like to get them from time to time because that's like kind of the achievement hunter in me. I like to get all the completion stuff done. It takes time. It's harder to get for each game now, because it's just it's a lot to take on. There's a lot of stuff that I like to get, like Code Veronica and Zero, so that could happen, to get those platinums, and it kind of forces me to get better. Yeah, call me like more forgotten characters like Rebecca, Mora, Sherry, Jake. Yeah, I know. Oh, I mean, we were talking about that last night too, and on the after party show. It was like, what Capcom chooses to acknowledge and what they don't. Nobody has brought up Michael Does Life in a long time. Yeah, we don't want to talk about that, dude. Who cares? Velvet says, hey, I want to see Umbrella Chronicles remade with VR. They can keep it on rails but make it VR. Yeah, I mean, or they could just do another on rails RE game. That's VR. Call Me wants Zero more than anything. That's his favorite OG RE game. Okay, yeah, I mean, a remake of Zero could happen too. I just don't like Zero as far as the mechanics, but it's just another thing for me with that game. And even some of the story is just, it doesn't connect as well with one timeline wise, because you could tell they just kind of added that in later. So if they can, kind of like rework that, that'd be really cool if they end up doing that, Kiryu says, not gonna lie, I am a big fan of the new trilogy, but I am ready for another Jill Valentine, Chris, or hell, even Ada Wong mainline game would be sick. Yeah, I think I'm kind of longing for that, for those old characters to come back, man. I definitely think that will be something that they could do for 9. I really hope they do, man. I really hope, especially Jill. Do you think reverse assets can be used to make a new Outbreak game for the console games? I mean, we can't go for 3 full generations of consoles and with Advance Online after the PS2 paved the way. Well, I wouldn't say PS2 paved the way. I would say Xbox Live paved the way for online stuff for consoles. It ran a lot better. It was a lot more user-friendly, and there wasn't the problems with the Final Fantasy adapter. Thank you, Chris Kennedy, for being a member, becoming a S.T.A.R.S member. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Now you got the custom emojis and the badges. Thank you, Chris. Good to see you here. Let's see. But yeah, I think the PS2 online was very lackluster, where Xbox Live kind of thrived, and that paved the way for online stuff. But I think it is weird that we haven't gotten an online co-op stuff. I think they could easily use the assets. They have the city stuff from 2 and 3 remake. They have all the characters, so we don't know. That would be fresh, though, right? Even Velvet says that would be really fresh. Hell, just bring the PS2 servers back. Yeah, I mean, hey, doing it online, you could do it on PC with the emulator, and it's cool. Lance wants to play Mike in the helicopter at the end, like we could do Rev 2. Well, that'd be going right into the action thing that hopefully they don't do, but, Mike can easily just be written out, and I'd be okay with it. That might be an unpopular opinion. Do we care about Mike? So Hijabi said the same thing. He says, an unpopular opinion, but I love Code Veronica as it is, and I know it has some flaws, but I think it's awesome. And I think RE0 needs a remake. That game has a lot of flaws in terms of... he means like the mechanics and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that there's stuff that can be fixed in all the remakes, you know what I mean? So... Thank you, Chris Kennedy, again for becoming a member. Yeah, the 777 one. Yeah, that was a doozy to get on stream. That was the last one I got for the Platinum, Julio. Umbrella and Darkside were really cool because they were lore-filled, but it was kind of like in bite-sized forms, so you can play it and kind of be done with it. I like the more realistic takes. Some I definitely like the original story writing better in that fashion. It's all good, Chris Kennedy. Thanks for rejoining. Regardless, I really appreciate that. A new RE generation would consist of characters like Not Again, Jake, Sherry, Ashley, Rose, Natalia. I just feel like they need to set up to make stuff of the new characters. Well, that's the thing too. A lot of times with some of the characters that they choose to kind of like abandon, especially Jake. That's one thing that it's like it was just in a game that wasn't really well received by fans, and then they didn't even really continue that story. They really act like it didn't exist after that. Oh, you meant being able to play Outbreak online with the PS2, says Eliezer. Oh, okay. I know what you mean by that. Yeah, I mean, just being able to play that online. But that's the thing. I wish Outbreak was at least on Xbox 2 back in the day, because if Xbox also I wish it was also on Xbox, because it's definitely something that could have benefited from not just using that adapter, but it was just another exclusive on the PlayStation for that time. But yes, no, any online stuff back then, even the Dreamcast was pretty groundbreaking. To have that online stuff early on, I mean, that was really fucking cool, and they included that with the system. So yeah, I see what you're saying. Let's see. Kuryu says, I'm not holding my breath for RE9. Granted, I didn't play the 8 DLC, but the way they ended 8, I just had a feeling that our old-time favorites won't return for 9. Hope I'm wrong. Yeah, I hope we get something brand new too, with not so much brand new as in like new characters, but like we get a new perspective on the story outside of the Winters, and that could be bringing back our old characters, just shifting away from what we've been kind of involved in since 7. Just kind of put the book up on the shelf and kind of move on from there. And let's see. That's true, Liquor Sandwich. That's actually a good point. He says if Outbreak originally came to Xbox, I guarantee you it would have been really popular and probably playable on the series consoles right now. Yeah, it definitely would have been. And it would have still been, or fans would have just been doing kind of what they do now, where it's like they find a way to custom make it and stuff like that. But yeah, it would have been like, they would have probably been put over and remastered maybe in some degree at this point. Who knows? But yeah, I definitely like Outbreak a lot more now with the online stuff. Julio says they could bring old characters back, but maybe the fan base would feel mixed. But seeing Leon and Ada back would totally hype the new games when the remakes were over. Yeah, I mean, hey, it's not bad when you have like this 16-year gap. And there's so much to kind of fill in, right? And I don't think they're gonna just make it take place at the end of those 16 years where all of our characters are old. I mean, I don't know. Just upgraded my PS5 with the 2 terabyte Western Digital. Tried deleting games off of the onboard SSD, which has 660 gigs. Yeah, it doesn't have much. But that's awesome that you added the spaceman. Yeah, you're set. That's a good investment. The Shadows of Rose ending was just like, it was okay. I think they summed it up the best they could with her and Ethan, but it wasn't really, I kind of wish the whole DLC was just kind of from a different perspective. But, it didn't really leave me wanting to come back for more, if that makes sense, Yeah, now's the time. If you're going to get an SSD hard drive, like now's the time. You bought one for $250 with heatsink included. That's cool, Chris. Yeah, I mean, look, now's the time. The holidays is a good time to try to find sales or wait for some stuff to go on sale. I know some of those higher end SSDs are hard to get at a good price, but yeah, Curio, you could definitely see if you can find something like that can work very well. We have 82 likes right now, so uh, let's get those likes up. Maybe we get to 100. I'll still be on here for another like 30 minutes or so. I was gonna see if I had another update that I wanted to tell you guys. Updates. But yeah, Callisto Protocol will be around the corner. I know there's going to be a lot of people playing it, checking it out. They don't want to get spoiled, so I understand if you can't be at the stream. But just so you know, I will be streaming. Let's see. Julio doesn't think they added much on the DLC for Rose since it was like in her head and not really. Yeah, it was in her head. Yeah, it was in the consciousness. Yeah, it wasn't really a full on, this is happening right now in reality. They kind of played it safe with that. Yeah, you kind of have to get a SSD because it's so hard to store shit. I agree, Franro. It could be like that. Chris is ready. Chris Kennedy, fellow YouTube member, is ready for Callisto. Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to Purple Herb about. We're talking about collector's editions today, and I was just saying how, I really would have liked the Callisto collector's edition, but I definitely, I got to get RE4, so that's that just comes first, so, and I knew that was going to happen. Yeah, I know, right? Mia wasn't really, you just see the picture of Mia in the house when she goes upstairs. She's like, wow, I haven't seen her in a long time, and, that's it. They didn't really talk about that. I think, honestly, Wayne, that's a good question. First person or third for RE9? I would say, to be honest with you, probably you'll have the option to do both. But I would say maybe third person. It seems like they are kind of going in that direction, but I feel like maybe having that choice because RE4 is going to have the RE4 remake is going to have the PSVR 2 support. So you can technically play that in first person or third person. So I feel like they're kind of leaning in that direction unless they really make it just to be in that perspective of third person like how they used to. So it could really go either way. But it's cool that people at least have a choice with Village. It's a shame they never went back and did anything for 7. What's up, Dark Caliber says, hey, any thoughts of what happened to the BSA operation branch after RE8 ending? That's a good question. And on the topic of RE9, that's a good thing of whether or not they will show the downfall of BSA and what they have to do in RE9. Maybe that is going to be what leads into RE9 and fill in those gaps. That'd be interesting if Chris had to go off and fight somewhere or, had to take care of something else. Not sure who was walking towards the car, Hijabi, but, I know that people were able to kind of break the game and look, and it was Ethan's model, but obviously, they just probably threw that in there. That wasn't legit, supposed to be him. It was just a model they had walking, but who knows? Mia went to rehab to have to deal with having a baby with a molded. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I think, because I know a lot of people were saying that maybe this will be a trilogy of first-person games, but it's definitely not the case now, especially when the Rose of Shadows of Rose was only third person. It didn't even give you the option. So it almost makes you think okay, where are they really going with that now? Chris says, I would like Capcom to step up the animations and realism in combat. I think Sony's PlayStation Studios came in and helped Capcom with RE9, or if they did, it would look and play more like a AAA. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think the stuff as far as the combat and animations, I mean, I haven't had a problem with a lot of the animations in the RE engine. I don't think a Sony studio can be the one to fix everything. They're too worried about, God of War Ragnarok and Naughty Dog charging people $75 for a remake. That's what they're worried about. But anyone, Capcom is the one that's in charge of their own ship, so I think that they'll the worry about that stuff. And Callisto Protocol didn't need the help of no Sony studio or outside studio to make it look like a AAA game. They did it themselves. Okay, so they could do whatever they want with that, but I think Callisto is going to be good. Yeah, I know. I agree, Wayne. It was a little janky with the forced first perspective on the third person. 2023 is stacked, man. I'm super excited, Carrie. It really starts with Callisto onward. It's just like, so 2 weeks, it's just been, obviously I had this week of just battling allergies and stuff like that, but I'm happy that I at least had some time to just get ready, because it's going to be busy. So, but it's going to be a good busy, for sure. Let's see. Thoughts on Mikami and Capcom and Platinum Games remaking a beloved IP. Great to see you as always. What's up, Abdul? Yeah, good to see you too. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what is going to be in the works with, the upcoming stuff, because now that everything's coming out with Dead Space, Silent Hill remake, it's like, dude, the possibilities are endless. And yes, you heard me, Fran Rowe. We cannot forget Dead Space remake either. Yeah, I'm going to be playing that and covering it. You bet your ass. What's up, Jeff M? Greetings, all. Anthony, you thinking of picking up Dead Space Remake Collector's Edition off Limited Run? No. It is what it is. I got to prioritize Resident Evil 4, Yeah, Callisto will really be the kickoff of 2023. I mean, I know there's still a month left, but at that point, we'll just make sure that everything really keeps moving, keeps the momentum moving. You know what I mean, guys? Keeps it going. And Julio wanted Village to be longer. It's disappointed we didn't see more Lady D. Well, yeah, I mean, like I was saying the other night on Rose after show, when we were having a great discussion, me, JJ, and Andy were really kind of going into some of that stuff, and it's like Lady D was in like 25% of the game, if that. And, you can tell that they didn't know that marketing was going to take off with her. And when they did, and then they realized, oh shit, she's not even in this game for a while, So, yeah, that definitely, the castle, her whole castle shouldn't have been that short. And so the houses shouldn't have been that short. And I think it definitely kind of went to a screeching halt by the time I got to Heisenberg's factory. Definitely. And the enemies reversing was just not that, interesting. Yeah, that's cool, Chris Kennedy. I just have been in a situation where, if I could afford all of the collector's editions, I would, but it's a lot of money to be shelling out. It's like, almost $1,000 of collector's editions, just to be going out. But hey, more power to you. If you're going to get all of them, that's great. Having statues, that's my jam. I love getting the collector's edition of X, Y, and Z, but they're coming out in such a close succession that it is what it is. We have 4 Silent Hill games on top of that, says Wayne. Yes, we do. Hopefully that's all good, and hopefully it grows. Dino Crisis Remake, I'm always hoping for that, man. John says, this is John Febeck says, speaking of horror games, are you looking forward to Alan Wake 2? Actually, yeah. And I never completely finished the first game, believe it or not, but I would like to actually play it. But just from seeing that and the vibe it's going, I think it's going to be, a really cool survival horror vibe that Remedy's going with for that, and I'm all for it. Exactly. They did not expect the fans to receive it like that, Javi. Exactly. No, I don't think they should have delayed RE8, because who gives a fuck at the end of the day? Like, you know what I mean? The game already was made for a couple years. They took the time. Just put it out, and better luck next time for another maybe more memorable enemy or BOW. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's all good, Chris Kennedy. Hey, look, I'm happy you could tell me the quality, tell me how you like the collector's edition, which one you like the most. Like, I definitely will be asking you how you feel about all those editions, and of course the games. They did have that idea of adding Ada in there, but they cut her out. And yes, I'm excited for Silent Hill 2 as well. I cannot wait for that remake. What's up, Scott Belcher, another fellow YouTube member. Sir Riffs-A-Lot, another fellow YouTube member, is in here. What's up? Hopefully Silent Hill comes to Xbox soon. I couldn't get a PS5, so went with the Xbox. That's all good, man. I think it will, hopefully, eventually. It used to be on Xbox all the time. I think it's kind of bullshit that it's even exclusive to begin with for a year. Well, at least that's all we know for now. It could extend. It's like Silent Hill 2 and 2 and 3, also the remaster, were on Xbox and PS3. So hopefully, man. But thank you, Sir Riffs, a lot, and Scott Belcher for also being members in here. Chris Kennedy says, yes, Silent Hill 2 remake's a must. Absolutely. Eliezer says, I'm very intrigued as by Silent Hill game being made in a Japanese or Asian setting. I hope it's a new story and not solely dependent on online play. Yeah. I wonder if they're going to do that Capcom thing where they start implementing more online stuff, right? Because, sometimes it doesn't really work all that well. And for something like Silent Hill, I would imagine that they would really try to go more into the story lane because they've been gone for so long. It's been dormant. Abdul says, I have a feeling for Silent Hill games will not come close to what Kojima pulled off with PT or Silent Hills. Thoughts on what that project would have been like, co-directed by Del Toro? Yeah, I thought that would have been pretty fucking out there and pretty wild. And to be honest with you guys, it looked pretty promising just from that PT stuff alone. But, I think a lot of fans are happy to see this go back into at least somewhat of the hands of people that worked on it originally. Some. I'm using that loosely because I don't want to get ripped apart by Silent Hill fans. I know Silent Hill 2 Remake has some people involved, right? As far as like where they take the story, I don't know. And it's a shame that the falling out of business related stuff really ended that thing to be canceled and for this thing to be dormant for a while. Chris Kennedy's still trying to beat RE8 and juggling God of War Ragnarok. Hard to keep up. Yeah, I definitely like to take games one game at a time. That's just me, though. I get overwhelmed when I try to, buy a bunch of games at once, or, I'm very slow to just getting to games, definitely, especially when I play a lot of stuff for the channel here. So, let's see. George Moore says, I wonder how many Plaga's phases we're gonna see in RE4 Remake. Yeah, hopefully we see all the ones we like, and we see, more of like the bendy neck dudes, just like in the original artwork that we saw in Incubate. Jeff M says, Anthony, not RE talk, but what did you think of Halloween Ends? Wasn't a fan. Definitely was not a fan of Halloween Ends. Long story short, I just did not, I don't know. I just did not like that at all. I just thought that trilogy was very out of place and out of whack, and there's a lot of story stuff that I wish they just kept. Like they should have just kept them related, little things like that. Very inconsistent. Call Me wants them to make us play as a BOW human, like Lady D or Wesker, giving us a claw power. So you want that superpower shit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they'll ever do that for a main character. The closest they try to do with having powers was Rose, But yeah, it still sucks. It has been 8 years since PT, right? That does suck. Fran Rose says, nah, Ragnarok, he says. I believe I'm at the part where there's a lot of water and I have to turn on the power in some shed. Oh, the Moreau fight? Yeah. Yep. I hated that they retconned the entire story now. So stupid. Yeah. It's just, I don't know what they were doing with those movies. I really just don't know what they were doing. We got 91 likes, though. So 9 more likes till we get to 100. I think we could do that. I'll be on here for about 15 more minutes. So whatever questions you got. Yeah, I want to unsee it. I'm going to jump into Tormented Souls while I wait for RE4. It looks like it went down in price, only 20. Oh, nice. It definitely goes cheaper, man. So, like, if you haven't pulled the trigger, just wait, like, a little bit. It's not on sale for the Black Friday stuff. I don't know. But, yeah, $20 still isn't bad. I mean, I think it's worth $20. I streamed that last year, or this year, earlier this year. I think it was, like, late last year into this year. And it was awesome. It was cool. I think that was probably the most requested. Not everybody saw the damn streams. That's just how it works with YouTube and algorithms. And, if I do anything that isn't RE, it always hurts the channel, even if it's survival horror. But that's a whole nother topic for a different time. it doesn't necessarily hurt the channel, but it definitely hides it, and it just doesn't make it doesn't make a difference, if that makes sense. It doesn't push that shit, right? But if you guys really dig it and you want to show up for the Callisto stream, that'd help me out a lot. I think you guys will like this next era with the channel and survival horror. So I like to branch out and do different things, and I did Dead Space earlier this year as well. I'm going to be putting out a poll that also kind of goes into that topic, more of what you guys can vote for. If you're a member and Patreon supporter, you can do that. Do you think the vampire wolf ghost turn the saga seems to be taking over? It seemed to be for those two games, so hopefully we can kind of get away from that. Yeah, didn't really like it, Jeff M. Wasn't really a fan. I liked Halloween 2018 too, Kiryu, but H2O wasn't. There was a lot of like cheesy parts to H2O, but what makes H2O really bad is Resurrection. So if you don't consider Resurrection and you actually look at H2O as a definitive ending where she chops his head off and that's it, that I love that H2O ending. I think that ending is way better than the Halloween Ends ending, in my opinion. She has the axe. She's ready. She holds the paramedics at gunpoint. She doesn't give a fuck. Like, that was just such a great finale, in my opinion. I want to buy RE4 a normal version, but then buy the deluxe since they put the original soundtrack. He says, it comes to this game, I don't mind giving the cash. Yeah, a lot of people are ready to drop the dough. Call Me says, Haunting Ground remake would be great, or even a remaster. I want them to give that game a chance and have no way to play it. Yeah, it is hard. It is a hard game to track down. Very expensive. Laser saw it. Stevie Max's Tormented Souls was just $10 a few weeks ago. Oh, damn. Then I guess it did go down a little bit. I'll watch Tormented Souls after I played it. I want to do a blind playthrough first. Yeah, no, that's fair. And again, to anybody that does that thing where they want to go back and watch playthroughs after the fact, that's all good. I know people are going to be like that with Callisto, RE4 remake, stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that ends up kind of, taking, I guess, priority with which game you want to play first. And some people don't even get these games right at the start when they drop on the street date, So, people will get Callisto by Christmas, or they'll get, something later down the road. So it just depends on where people are at with that. I love Halloween 4 too, Liquor Sandwich, but yeah, that mask is trash. The neck in the Halloween 5 mask is... I still like the Halloween 4 mask. Like, it's bad, but I kind of like it. I don't know. Halloween 4 is just a good movie, but I also... there is funny parts to that. RE4 is Will Moore's first collector's edition, dude. That's super hype. The fact that you made that your first purchase on that is really cool. What is Tormented Souls? I just Googled it, and it looks cool. Yeah, it's kind of like a psychological horror. RE meets Silent Hill, but it's actually fixed camera angles like the old Resident Evil, so it's really cool. I'm in a restroom. It looks like it hasn't been serviced in a while. How do I get out of the Arkley Mountains, says David R. Yeah, how do I get out of this isolation? Will Moore says Halloween 1 and 3 for me. Okay, yeah. I mean, Halloween 1 is one of my favorite films of all time. It is my favorite film of all time. And Halloween 3 is also a film I love and, has gotten, like, obviously more of a love appreciation in the last, 10 years, where before it got such a bad rap for just not having Michael Myers in it. Fran Rose says, I don't know if I'll play the Dead Space remake. Looks fine, but at the same time, it's not convincing to me. Well, that's fair. And you can always wait for a price drop. And hey, you know what? Check out my stream. Check out my review. If it looks convincing and it makes you, pull the trigger, even if the price drops, do it. Yeah, I know that too. I know a lot of people in different countries have to deal with different prices and stuff like that for the collector's editions. We're at 96 likes, by the way, almost to 100. Can we get to 100 in the next 10 minutes? I'll be on here for another 10 minutes. So anything you want to mention or ask in the horror lane, let me know. Let's Let's see. I'm here busy at work, looking forward to the next stream. And Black Friday, I'm dropping the introduction featuring LTRE. Thanks again, Ant. Yes, me and Purple Herb are. I recorded some lines for something he's putting together. And as you know, me and him kind of collaborated before with a figure, Resident Evil figure review that I did where he sent me something out to review. And it was really cool of him to, send over that stuff. And it also has, just a really cool, just perspective from a different fan too. You know what I mean? Like a fan that's making content, someone who loves the series, also loves figures, but you're also doing Resident Evil content now. And yeah, it's going to be really cool. So just from what he showed me, it looks great. That I don't have, Franro, but I can send you a link to a Patreon. And yes, drop them likes. Let's get to over 100. Speaking of horror movies, I finally watched The Exorcist for the first time this past Halloween. What a fantastic movie. Yeah, that is a perfect horror film. Between The Exorcist and this guy right here, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, perfect horror movies. I mean, that, Night of the Living Dead, the original Dawn of the Dead. I mean, you can't really go wrong. This is the Pioneer DVD. So, but yeah, Exorcist is fucking awesome. Even Exorcist 3. Check out Exorcist 3, Carryu. Because don't watch Exorcist 2. You can avoid that. Just act like that didn't happen. Watch Exorcist 3, and then also let me know what you think. That's a great film. You wouldn't think like, oh, Exorcist 3, but like, it's good. And it's not just like because of the jump scare. Like, it's actually really good. You should watch it, or the demon will invade your house. You should watch it. It's so good. Any recommendations for good Resident Evil figures? Do you recommend any non-official ones that are good? I don't know too much about... This is a good question for Purple Herb, because he'll know off the top all the brand names and stuff like that. Unofficial ones I've never like dove into, like, because back in the day I always kind of did like the Toy Biz stuff, like the stuff that would just be around for that. But the Limb Toys was the one that I reviewed, and that was such a great attention to detail figure that you can tell. It's really amazing how they get all that stuff down, accurate with all the weapons and the grenades and the attachments. But yeah, it depends on the size you're into. 1/6 or 1/12, like that's also a thing too. I don't have the 08 RE4 calendar, Eliezer, but you know what? I definitely need to get that. What's up, S.T.A.R.S in the chat? Charlemagne. I love how there's a few HD OG versions of Dawn of the Dead on YouTube. I usually vibe the best while I'm working every few months. Yeah, dude, that is just great. Opinion on Rob Zombie's Halloween? I actually like it. I don't think it's a bad movie. And it's funny, I was at Monster Mania a week ago, and I worked with Tyler Mane, who played Michael Myers in Rob Zombie's Halloween. And yes, Limb Toys. Thank you, Purple Herb, too, for reconfirming that, too. So there you go, Sir Riffs a lot. But yes, I worked with Tyler Mane, who's, obviously he's a tall motherfucker. He's still tall. He's like 6'7", used to be a wrestler. And yeah, that was such a cool experience. Such a nice dude, genuinely nice dude. And yeah, can't say enough nice things about him, And when he's just tall, intimidating, figurehead, like you think, oh man, but he's actually really nice. And he was a wrestler too. You brought up Night of the Living Dead, the 1968 or 1990 remake. Which one do you think is better? I love the remake, but the 1968 version has been one of my favorites. I think the original is definitely the best one, but I love the remake. Just because the original is classic. You can't really beat it, Sorry, my cats are walking all around. But yeah, so I think, but the remake really inspired Resident Evil as well. Especially because of how they portrayed Barbara, and that kind of goes into Jill. So I really like Tom Savini's remake. Mugen, come on. My cat is just like, he just doesn't listen. Numbskull does high quality RE game figures at an affordable price. Yeah, they're pretty good too. Numbskull. But yes, I do love both. But yeah, the original is just classic. You can't go wrong with that. I see many people from the RE fan base prefer the remake of Code Veronica instead of 4, or would prefer, even though I never played. Yeah, that is the kind of like the main thing. A lot of people just always wanted Code Veronica and over 4, but I think now because people are starting to see more of RE4, they're like, you know what? Okay, this is pretty good now. But I think that doesn't stop people from wanting Code Veronica. I think that's still in some people's hearts of like what they really want to see. Purple Herb says, "Sir, check out Mallfish Collectibles. They should have some in stock right now." Oh shit. Okay. Mallfish Collectibles. Okay, well there you go. Yeah, it's like I feel like everyone already has the priority of the remakes they like, and things that they want to see. And for some people, RE2 check, RE3 check. Just kind of going down the list. And now if they go back to RE1, that'll be another thing that'll be cool to kind of go off of the fans list. We only need two. We need 2 more likes, guys. 2 more. We're at 98 likes right now. So thank you guys for turning up for the Hangout. It's my first live stream in about a week. I did return last night on Residents of Evil, playing some Outbreak 2, and having a fun discussion with the chat. And obviously, I saw many of you in the chat as well, so thank you guys for also being there. And yeah, the success of RE4 remake, it could always lead to Code Veronica and other remakes. It always kind of does. I think like it always kind of opens up another door for them. And again, whatever they have on their list of priorities just depends on when they maybe get around to a Code Veronica remake. Especially if they already have plans to do the next remake, which could be Resident Evil 1 remake again. The remake. I've been here for a while, but since I was waiting for it to be 99, so I can give it that 100 like. Oh, thank you, John, for being the 100 like. And yes, again, I also want to say, check out Survive This. That's John's channel right there. If you guys are wondering where John has been, click that little blue wrench channel right there. Also, thank you, John, for also still being a member. Subscribe. Bunch of content coming up, already out to check out, and I've been sharing the videos. So, he's been working hard on it. They've been working hard on it, and yeah, it's just it's time to rock and roll. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of stuff to discuss, a bunch of stuff to do. Yeah, I think the Resident Evil remakes, I think they'll try to, get to a point where they'll probably, focus on a different franchise to go back and do some remakes. I think that'll happen. John's bold prediction says, despite IGN totally biased and flavor of the month poll, naming Silent Hill 2 the best horror game of all time, R4 remake will cream pie it in sales. I'm calling double. Yeah, I mean, I think RE4 just has such a more massive following, I think, over the years. Also because they're different types of games, different styles. But I will say this, that Resident Evil has been more consistent, and it's been more growth. It's seen more growth, and the fan base is more loyal, at least, to the product in terms of always kind of showing up to buy it. Where Silent Hill was so dormant and their company was focused on pachinko machines. So you could see where the heart of the companies were, and yeah, I definitely think that RE4 could easily slay this one when it comes to RE over there. Sorry, my cats are making noise. I want to see RE5 with no co-op, and RE6 would be good too. That's what Sir Riffs a lot says. Yeah, no co-op, that'd be interesting. I would be. I don't know how I would feel about that, because I feel like that's one of my favorite aspects of RE5. But if they do change it and kind of go into their original idea of RE5, maybe that wouldn't be so bad. I actually just put out a new video while watching you, and I'm sure you saw the ESRB summary. I marked out about 15 minutes and then did a one-take audio track. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I know that there's a bunch of people doing stuff on that ESRB summary stuff. So, I think a lot of people are. I guess it's all like online stuff that people are thinking about, whether or not it could be uh, fucking well, what was I thinking? Co-op mercenaries. That's what I was saying. Um, but yes, John Febeck says, for RE figures, years ago, I really wanted the Hot Toys RE5 Wesker, but I was kind of poor when that was out, so I never got it. Yeah, that's the thing, too. It's like, you see the low prices just kind of like skyrocket, you know what I mean? So you see that with a lot of the collectibles nowadays, you know what I mean? Thoughts on RE 1.5, Nico? I love it. I love the fact that it's a snapshot in time, and it definitely has a certain vibe to it. It's cool of what could have been, but I love all the coverage on that. Yeah. So and take care, Sir Ripsalot. Thanks you for supporting it, and thank you guys for getting me to 100 likes. Really appreciate that. And I just want to thank you guys so much for always showing up and always supporting the channel. Thank you so much for getting me to 100 likes for the stream. And we're at the mark that I wanted to be at, so we're right after 10. So thank you guys for checking it out. It was always great hanging out, doing these discussions. I will be back Monday with a brand new stream. So I will be working on some stuff in the meantime. So thank you guys so much for the support. Check out John's channel, Survive This. And I think we got all the bases covered. Like I said, there is going to be a special review that I will be working on. That will be, a special Resident Evil 4 review. And it's going to be very fun, so I can't wait. That's it. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate the support. Thank you to all the members. Thank you for the donation earlier as well. Thank you for the new members that joined. Thank you for the Patreon supporters. And that's it until next week, guys. So thanks for bearing with me. Like I said, I haven't been lazy. I got a lot of stuff planned, so I appreciate the patience, and I'll catch you next week. Stay tuned.